I asked to borrow money from my boyfriend for my dream art trip, and the pathetic man demanded I pay it back. Obviously, I refused because he was my boyfriend, so I dumped him for deserving more. Now he is suing me. When I started dating David a year ago, I thought I had finally found a real man. He is successful, has his own graphic design company, is thoughtful, and always seemed willing to do anything for me. For me, one of the most important qualities in a man is generosity. It is not about being materialistic. It is about feeling cared for, protected. It is a love language. And David, at the beginning, spoke that language fluently. He paid for all our dates, surprised me with gifts. He even helped me pay for an unexpected car repair without me asking. "Don't worry about that, Carla," he told me. "We are in this together." Those words stuck with me. We are a team. I am an artist. My work is my passion, but it is not always stable. There are good months and bad months. David always knew that and seemed to admire my dedication to my art. He encouraged me, told me to follow my dreams, that he would be there to support me. And I believed him. I believed his support was unconditional, a safety net that allowed me to take creative risks. Our relationship felt solid. He was my rock, the anchor in my bohemian and sometimes chaotic life. I, in return, brought color to his structured life. I taught him to appreciate art, to be more spontaneous. We were the perfect balance, or so I thought. I did not know that his generosity had a limit. I did not know that his words, "We are in this together," came with fine print. A few months ago, the opportunity of a lifetime came my way. A very prestigious art gallery offered me a spot in a 3-month intensive workshop abroad. It was one of those things that can catapult your career. The problem, as always, was the cost. Between tuition, accommodation, and materials, the figure was considerable, impossible for me at that time. I was devastated. I thought I would have to let the opportunity pass. One night, I told David about it, more as a lament than a request. I explained how important it was to me, the dream it represented. He listened to me attentively, as always, and when I finished, he said something that filled me with hope. "Carla, you have to go. You cannot let this pass. I will help you." I felt immense gratitude. I hugged him and thanked him a million times. He was my hero, my patron. He was investing in my dream, in our future. A couple of days later, we sat down to look at the numbers. He took out his computer and said to me, "Okay, let us organize this. I can lend you the money. We will make a small, flexible payment agreement for when you come back and start selling your works. No interest, of course, just so it is clear." I was a little surprised. Lend, payment agreement. The words sounded so transactional, so unromantic. I smiled at him a little uncomfortably. "Oh, David, don't be so formal. It is us." But he insisted. "No, Carla, it is a significant amount. It is better if we put it in writing, just so we are both at ease." I felt strange, but I did not want to ruin the moment. It seemed a little weird to me, an eccentricity of his businessman mentality, but I did not give it any more thought. I signed the paper he drafted, a simple document that said he was lending me the money and that I would pay it back in installments when my financial situation improved. I signed it without barely reading it, thinking it was nonsense, an unimportant formality between two people who loved each other. To me, the paper meant nothing. The real agreement was the one in our hearts. He was supporting me. The money was just a tool. In a real couple, things flow. Today for you, tomorrow for me. You don't keep score. I thought he understood it that way too. How wrong I was. The workshop was the most incredible experience of my life. I grew as an artist and as a person. I came home full of inspiration, with a new portfolio and several promising works. David met me at the airport with a bouquet of flowers. Everything seemed perfect. The first few months after my return were a whirlwind. I was working on my new collection, contacting galleries. Things were starting to move, but slowly. I sold a couple of small pieces, but nothing that gave me great financial stability yet. David seemed understanding. He would ask about my work, encourage me. Then, one night, about a month ago, we were having dinner, and he brought up the topic. He did it in the most casual way possible. Hey, honey, how are sales going? I was thinking maybe we could start organizing the loan thing, small installments to get it moving. I choked on my food. I looked at him, expecting to see a smile on his face, expecting it to be a joke, but he was completely serious. Are you being serious? I asked him, putting my fork down on the plate. Yes, of course, he replied as if it were the most normal thing in the world. We agreed that you would start paying it back when things improved, and it seems they are improving. I could not believe it. After everything we had been through, after this transformative experience that he had supposedly supported, the first thing he thought about was the money. Not my art, not my growth, his bank balance. David, I said, trying to stay calm. I thought that was a formality, a silly thing. We are a couple, we are supposed to support each other. I don't see our relationship as a transaction. Carla, it is not a transaction, it is an agreement, he said, and his tone started to sound a little defensive. It is a significant amount of money. I also have my plans, my finances. I was happy to support you, but it was a loan. And there was that word again. Loan. The word that invalidated everything. His support had not been a gift of love, it had been an investment with an expectation of return. I felt incredibly humiliated. Used. No, David, I said, and my voice hardened. A real boyfriend, a man who truly loves and supports his partner, does not charge her for helping her fulfill a dream. That is not love, that is being an accountant. The conversation turned into a full-blown argument. He pulled out the paper I had signed. I yelled at him that the paper was an insult. He said I was ungrateful, and I realized the horrible truth. The generous man I had fallen in love with did not exist. It was a facade. Underneath was a petty man, a man who kept accounts in his own relationship, and I could not be with someone like that. The argument about money became an open wound in our relationship. Over the following weeks, the topic came up constantly. He would ask me with irritating regularity if I had sold anything new, if I had thought about the first installment yet. Every question felt like a small betrayal, a reminder that he saw me as a debtor, not as his girlfriend. I tried to explain it to him from every possible angle. I told him his attitude was killing the love, that he was reducing our bond to a spreadsheet. I told him that money should never come between two people who love each other, but it was like talking to a wall. He kept repeating the same phrase, an agreement is an agreement, Carla. The last straw was last week. I received an email from him. It was a formal, almost corporate email. The subject was loan agreement reminder, and attached was a scan of the document I signed and a detailed proposal for a payment schedule. I stared at the screen, feeling a cold rage take over me. This was no longer a couple's conversation, this was harassment. He was treating me like a delinquent client. The man who used to leave me notes on the mirror was now sending me payment reminders by email. The humiliation was unbearable. I decided that was enough. I could not continue in a relationship with someone who valued me so little, who valued his money more than my feelings and my dignity. I called him that very instant. I received your email, I told him bluntly. Good, he replied with a tone of relief, as if he thought his tactic had worked. So, what do you think of the payment plan? I think this is over, David, I blurted out. I cannot be with a man who treats me like a business, with someone so petty, so unmanly, who needs to charge his own girlfriend for an act of support. There was a silence on the other end. Then his voice, full of genuine disbelief. Are you leaving me because I am asking you to honor the agreement you signed? I am leaving you because you have shown me that you are not the man I thought you were, I corrected him. I deserve someone who truly supports me, unconditionally, not someone who sends me an invoice for his love. So no, obviously I am not going to pay you. Consider that money as a severance for the time and love I have invested in this farce of a relationship. And I hung up on him. I felt incredibly liberated, strong. I had stood up for my worth. I had escaped a transactional relationship. I thought that was the end. I thought he, ashamed of his own pettiness, would simply disappear. I could not have been more wrong. The first few days after the breakup, I felt an immense peace. I had made the right decision. I had chosen my dignity over a man who did not deserve me. I deleted his photos, blocked his number. I was ready to start my new chapter, free from his accountant mentality. The peace lasted exactly 1 week. That is when the letter arrived. It was not an email, but an official envelope with the letterhead of a law firm. My heart skipped a beat. Inside was a formal notification, a lawsuit for breach of contract. David was suing me for the loan money. I could not believe it. The pettiness had reached a new level. It was not enough for him to have ruined our relationship over his obsession with money. Now he was willing to take me to court, to humiliate me publicly, all for an amount that for him, with his successful company, is practically pocket change. This is no longer about the money, it is revenge. It is the act of a man with a wounded ego, a scorned man who cannot stand being left. He is using the law as a weapon to punish me for telling him the truth, for demanding that he be a real man. My friends are outraged. They tell me it is unbelievable what kind of man sues his ex-girlfriend. They support me unconditionally. They see the injustice as clearly as I do. He is behaving like a child, one of them said. And she is right. He is a child throwing a tantrum who, instead of crying, hires lawyers. Now I have to find my own lawyer, spend money I don't have to defend myself from this farce. All the energy I should be putting into my art, I now have to dedicate to fighting the man who once promised to support me. People will probably say that I signed a paper, that technically he is right, but the law does not understand emotional contexts. The law does not understand the implicit promises in a loving relationship. A piece of paper cannot nullify the pact of love and support that is supposed to exist between a couple. I did not break any agreement. He was the one who broke it first. He broke the unwritten agreement to care for each other, to protect each other, to be a team. His lawsuit is not an act of justice. It is the definitive proof of his failure as a man and as a partner. And it is not fair. It is not fair that his lack of manliness and his vengeful spirit are going to cost me my peace and my stability. He did not just lose a girlfriend, he has lost his honor. Popular comments from Reddit. Anonymous user 1. You asked for money. You signed a loan agreement. You decided not to pay. And now you are surprised you are being sued. The logic is simple. Original poster. You did not hold up your end of the deal. The fact that you were boyfriend and girlfriend does not give you the right to steal from him. Anonymous user 2. Consider that money as a severance for the time and love I have invested. That is the most entitled sentence I have ever read in my life. Love is not a job for which you get severance pay when it ends. He lent you real money, not feelings. You have to pay it back. Original poster. It is not stealing. In a couple, resources are shared. It is a concept that you people, with your transactional mentality, cannot understand. I gave him my time, my emotional support, my art. He provided money. It is called balance. Upon breaking up, the emotional debt is canceled out by the financial debt. It is simple. Anonymous user 3. Your ex-boyfriend supported you to fulfill the dream of your life on the sole condition that you pay him back when you could. And your response was to call him unmanly and break up with him. And now he is the bad guy for wanting his money back. Original poster. You are a case study. Original poster. The dream of my life was also beneficial for him. A successful artist girlfriend is a good accessory. It was not an act of pure generosity, it was an investment in his own image. And when the investment demanded a little patience and faith, he backed out. His support was conditional and, therefore, not real. I don't owe him anything. Update 1. A month has passed since I received the letter from his lawyer. A month of anxiety and sleepless nights. I have had to hire a legal aid lawyer because obviously I cannot afford a private one. My lawyer was very direct. You signed a contract, Carla. Emotional motivation is not usually a valid defense in a debt case. I felt incredibly frustrated. The legal system is so cold, so blind to the human truth of situations. I knew I could not win on his turf, the turf of papers and clauses. I had to take the battle back to emotional ground. I had to make him remember the David who fell in love with me, not the businessman who counts pennies. I came up with an idea, a last appeal to his heart. I collected all the things he had given me throughout our relationship, the earrings, the designer handbag, even the silly matching mugs we bought on our first trip. I put everything in a box. Along with it, I wrote a 3-page letter, pouring out all my pain, my disappointment, my feeling of betrayal. I ended the letter with a plea. If our love truly meant nothing and everything was a transaction, then take this. Sell it and collect your debt. But if there is anything left of the man I fell in love with, withdraw this lawsuit and let us talk like two people who once loved each other. I went to his office, not to confront him, but to leave the package at the reception. I wanted him to find it in his workspace, to be forced to confront our memories in the midst of his business world. It seemed like a powerful, poetic gesture. The response was not what I expected. That same afternoon, my lawyer called me. His voice sounded strange. "Carla, I have received a communication from David's lawyer. He told me that his client appreciates the return of the items, that he considers them a partial payment of the debt. He has made an approximate appraisal of the items and will deduct that amount from the total claimed in the lawsuit. The lawsuit is still on for the remaining balance." I almost dropped the phone. He accepted the things, he accepted them as a payment. My grand romantic gesture, my appeal to his humanity, he had turned it into a pawn shop transaction. He had taken my memories, our memories, and put a literal price tag on them. I broke down. The cruelty of that act is almost unimaginable. Not only did he reaffirm his position, but he used my last attempt to connect with him to humiliate me even more. He has proven, without a doubt, that there is nothing left of the man I knew. There is only a cold, vengeful accountant. It is no longer about the money, it is about a war of principles. And now I understand that I cannot appeal to his heart because he does not have one. Popular comments from Reddit. Anonymous user 1, your ex is a legend. You sent him a box of emotional manipulation and he processed it like a merchandise return. He outstrategized you again. And the funniest part is that legally, he probably did you a favor by accepting the gifts as partial payment. Anonymous user 2, you tried to make a dramatic gesture to shame him into dropping the lawsuit and he simply incorporated it into the lawsuit. Original poster, you have to understand that you are dealing with a logical person. Your emotional tactics don't work on him. Just pay the money you owe. Original poster, logic? That is not logic. That is being a soulless robot. Who appraises their ex's gifts? Who puts a price on a memory? What he did is psychopathic. It proves I was right from the beginning. For him, everything, including love, has a price. Anonymous user 3, every time you try a new strategy, he dismantles it with brutal calmness and every time, instead of learning, you get more offended. He gave you a chance to reduce your debt and you see it as a humiliation. Your perspective is completely distorted. Original poster, my perspective is that of a person with feelings. He has robbed me of the sentimental value of each of those objects. He has turned them into mere assets. He did me no favor. He desecrated our memories. You people defend a monster just because he knows how to use a calculator. Final update, the last few months have been a legal hell. My life became endless paperwork and stressful conversations with my lawyer. The court date was approaching and I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. My artistic work suffered. I was too consumed by rage and anxiety to create anything. The catalytic event occurred last week. It was not in a courtroom, it was an email from David's lawyer to my lawyer. The email was brief. It said that, after consideration, his client had decided to withdraw the lawsuit unconditionally. No explanations. It was simply over. At first, I did not understand it. My lawyer called me, as surprised as I was. "Congratulations, Carla. You have won," he told me. But I did not feel like a winner. I felt empty, confused. Why? Why after months of legal harassment, of humiliating me by accepting my gifts as payment, did he suddenly give up? I needed to know. I did something I had not done in months. I went to his apartment. Not his office, his personal one. I knew I risked him slamming the door in my face, but I had to understand. To my surprise, he opened it. He looked tired, older than I remembered. His apartment was full of moving boxes. "What do you want, Carla?" he asked without inviting me in. "Why?" I asked with a trembling voice. "Why did you withdraw the lawsuit?" He sighed, a sigh that seemed to come from the depths of his soul. He ran a hand over his face. "Because I am moving," he said. I am leaving the city. I have accepted a job offer somewhere else, a new beginning, and I have realized I don't want to start my new life dragging this along. The money, the lawsuit, he paused. The money does not matter to me anymore. Honestly, what you have cost me in lawyer fees and in peace of mind is worth much more than the loan. Keep it. Buy yourself paints, pay your rent. It is not my problem anymore, I just want peace. And then he looked me straight in the eyes, and I saw an infinite sadness. You know, Carla? I really believed in you. I believed in your art. I was willing to bet on you. The paper, the agreement, was just my way of feeling like we were building something together in a structured way. But you saw it as an offense. You saw my way of loving as a transaction. And maybe you are right. Maybe I don't know how to love any other way, but I don't want to try anymore. I wish you luck. And he closed the door on me. I stood in the hallway, processing his words. I had won. I was free from the debt. But at that moment, I realized the truth. It was never about the money for him. No, it was really about a principle. And I had won the financial battle, but I had lost the war. I had exhausted him. I had broken him to the point that he would rather give up his money, his city, everything, than have to deal with me for one more minute. I don't feel like a winner. I feel like a natural disaster that ravaged a good man's life. And now he is leaving to start over, away from me, and I am left here with the money and a victory that tastes like ash. It is not fair. He did not even give me the satisfaction of a fight. He simply erased me. Popular comments from Reddit. Anonymous user 1, you have won by forfeit. You exhausted him so much that he preferred to lose thousands of euros than to have to stay in contact with you. And you still think this is a victory? He did not erase you. He saved himself. Anonymous user 2, his last words are heartbreaking. He tried to love you in the only language he knew, structured support, and you rejected it. You won the money, but you lost the opportunity to learn a valuable lesson about yourself. Anonymous user 3, original poster, you have gotten exactly what you wanted, the money without responsibility. And now you are complaining about the price. Your ex wants peace, and that means not having you in his life. You cannot have it all. You have proven to be an emotionally toxic investment, and he has finally decided to cut his losses. Original poster, peace? He talks about peace, but what he has done is the most passive-aggressive act of all. Withdrawing the lawsuit is not a gift, it is a final insult. It is his way of telling me, you are not even worth the effort of the fight. He has denied me a trial, a resolution. He has left me in limbo with a victory that feels like abandonment. No, I have not won. Somehow he has managed to win, even by surrendering. It is not fair.